Hello friends, Coach Bob here today, and today we're going to talk about something quite serious in nature. We're going to talk about the wonderment of the human head. Yeah, most people think of the skull that it's just one bone. It's just one shell of a bone. But no, it's actually made up of 22 bones. The skull contains 8 larger bones that protect the brain. That part is what we know as the cranium. That leaves 14 additional bones that make up your facial structure. Your skull also has tiny little holes in it called foramina. These holes allow blood vessels and nerves to enter and exit the cranium. And also, this thing right here, the jawbone or the mandible, the only bone in the skull that moves. It's the largest and also the strongest bone in the skull. It's a pretty valuable bone. You chew with it, hold your teeth in place. Pretty important stuff. And just in case you've been living under a rock, the skull houses your brain and your eyes. And when you suffer a severe head injury, bad things happen. Loss of memory, paralysis, pain, death. My friends often ask me, well, do you think a $20 helmet's good enough? If you have a $20 head, it is. For years, I rode around with an El Cheapo helmet, and embarrassingly, with no helmet at all. It is purely by the grace of God that I'm still here, because I've done stupid things in my life and not worn a helmet. Today, we're going to discuss the Shoei GT-Air Helmet. It's a quality helmet. I'm going to tell you before we even get into a review, I like the helmet a lot. And when you're protecting your head, you get what you pay for. It is valuable to wear the proper helmet. We're going to talk about that right after this. So Shoei helmets. First, let's give you an idea of how old the company really is. They opened up in 1959, and that was an awful long time ago. Here are some noteworthy things that happened in 1959. There was an airplane crash that occurred, and it was written about in the song American Pie, where they talk about the day the music died. That was in February of 1959. Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper were killed in a plane crash. Alaska became the 49th state in '59, and Hawaii also became the 50th state. And the Boston Celtics started their 8th consecutive world championship streak in 1959. Ben-Hur won 11 Oscars, and the current U.S. flag was designed in 1958 by a young man in junior high, and he got a B on there, but once Congress passed the flag and started using that flag, his grade was changed to an A. So that gives you a little bit of idea of where we are in the history of this country and what was going on when Shoei opened up. So in '59 they created a general purpose helmet, and in 1976 they created the first full face helmet that was using carbon fiber. In 1984 they designed a helmet that had a ventilation mechanism. They were the first. These helmets are handmade in Japan. They have 2 factories over there, one in Iwate and the other in Ibaraki. These helmets are created with a big focus on safety, comfort, and quality. Aerodynamics is an integral part of the Shoei helmet, and they take that very, very seriously. Prototypes are tested in Shoei's own wind tunnel. They do it in both a non-conventional and conventional method. One where the helmet is just placed on a pedestal of some kind and held in place while wind is being blown over the helmet itself. Corrections are made. Then it's tested on many users, guys sitting on motorcycles within a wind tunnel, and then actual getting out into the field and driving around, and adjustments are made while they're developing that helmet. There's a lot more than just aerodynamics. There's wind noise testing. There's ventilation testing. There's the foam that's in the helmet is designed a certain way. That way when the helmet oscillates, that oscillation doesn't come down through your head and your neck and create rider fatigue. The interiors of the helmets, they're hand sewn. Shoei also destroys 3,000 helmets a year to make sure that your head doesn't get destroyed, and I greatly appreciate that. You know, when the Shoei helmet itself is hit, it doesn't just bounce like a big hard shell. It actually compresses into an inner layer that absorbs the impact, and that greatly reduces your chance of skull damage, brain damage, a broken neck. Shoei focuses on making the helmet lightweight. A lightweight helmet really changes the dynamic if you go down, as your head creates this centrifugal type of force, these G-forces when you fall, it can slow that down a little bit. They use multiple layers. They have fiberglass and organic fiber, 3D organic fiber, and they have all these names. These 4 layers are put together, and they're built over a mold, creating the shell of the helmet. And once the shape of the helmet is created, then you have a hollow shell with no holes in it. At that point, they have a laser that cuts out all of the holes within the helmet. Then all of this is gone over by a quality assurance person, making sure that there are no thick points or thin points within the helmet. Then the helmet is sanded and primed, and yet again, after the priming is done, another inspection. Then the helmet is actually painted. Once the helmet paint is complete, there's some wet sanding that goes on, and then they put on the graphics. The graphics are put on, as decals, and then it's clear coated. So now you have a beautifully painted shell for a helmet. At this point, another inspection is done to make sure everything looks just right. Now the impact absorption liner is put into place, and rubber seals around the face guard, and all of the ventilation and visor and interior parts are placed in. The Shoei helmet is truly a quality product, but enough of that. Let's talk about the actual GT-Air. Something you'll notice is that I said Dauntless. Dauntless is the color scheme or the paint scheme that's on the helmet. That was somewhat confusing to me at the very beginning. I didn't understand what they meant by Dauntless. I didn't know if that was some sort of model within the line. And another thing that is on the helmet that is really cool, and I'm sure that guys that are in the know and have ridden motorcycles and worn really quality helmets, to them this was no surprise. But to me it certainly was. There was something called a pin lock. And a pin lock, the best way to describe it, is like a double-paned window on your house. This piece of plastic or glass that attaches to the inside of your face shield creates a second layer of glass with a mild air barrier in between those two. And what that does is it keeps that shield from fogging up when you're riding in the cold or in the heat. It really works amazingly well. The Shoei GT-Air comes with an integrated sun shield that you can open and close with the visor up or down. It works really well, and it's easy to use even when wearing a glove, a heavy winter glove even. The large CNS1 shield, that's the actual face shield, is a little wider and taller. It gives you a greater field of view. This actually works very well. It has a large lowered air vent and has an additional vent and exhaust vent up on the top and the back of the helmet. The interior liner is fully removable and washable, which I can tell you, I sure do appreciate that. And again, as I mentioned earlier, the multi-piece EPS liner, that's the one that provides impact absorption, and it makes the helmet a little lighter and just can handle impact a lot better. As far as noise, I hear people talk about the helmet being noisy. I'm going to tell you, it's not noisy to me. The helmet looks great, it feels great, and for the price right now, you can get the older GT-Air on quite a bargain. Everybody pretty much has them on sale. The GT-Air 2 is out, and while I haven't tried one, I probably will. You can never have too many great helmets. So that pretty much concludes my review of the Shoei GT-Air. I hope you enjoyed the content. If so, be sure and click like, subscribe, and I greatly appreciate it. Now go ride that motorcycle and have the time of your life. And if you're not having a great time, remember, you're doing it wrong. We'll talk to you soon. You stay safe out there.